What's up guys, welcome to a new video where I will be reviewing your technique, your windsurfing technique. We have asked you guys in the last videos on Instagram to send us your Insta360 videos, and actually super cool that Insta360 is supporting this series. So if you have videos of yourself windsurfing filmed on the Insta360, be sure to send it to us. All the information are below this video. You don't need any storage space. We provide that for you. All you need to do is drag and drop the file into the folder that we're providing, and that way I can review your footage in the next video. So once again, powered by Insta360, shout out to them. Please allow us a bit of advertising here and there. It's super cool that they are supporting this series. And if you don't have one yet, it's a super useful tool to improve, to check what you're doing wrong, to review your windsurfing sessions. And that's what we're doing today. I'm reviewing your windsurfing sessions filmed on Insta360. And with that said, I would say we get right into it, into the first footage which I received from Kurt. So Kurt also sent us a little bit of an information about himself. If you send us your footage, be sure to do that as well. He's letting us know his age. He's a 57-year-old windsurfer. He's on a Starboard Futura 77 6.3 loft sails racing blade. So he's definitely free racing. And he's on a 40 centimeter Z-fin. He filmed this on his holiday in Spain, and I'm really curious about his windsurfing, which we're going to take a look at now. He also let us know that he didn't succeed in mounting his Insta360 far away from the gear, and that's something we can see here. It's on the mast mount. It's kind of the top view, which is a bit harder to review, and I will tell you in just a second how you can mount the camera to get the best view to see how your stance is and how you're sailing. We can from here take a look definitely at the feet and at the foot strap position. So you can see the back strap is mounted all the way to the back. The front strap is also all the way mounted to the back. It's mounted on the outside, so he's in a race position basically. The further you have the foot strap outside, the more you're going to have a racy feeling. You're gonna be able to push the board harder to the max speed, and having them far in the back also allows the board to come really free. That's something we see here. We also see that he has his backhand fully wrapped around the boom, which makes the hand a bit shorter, let's say. So if you take the thumb above the boom, you can make your backhand a little bit longer. And he is going for a little jump, we can see as well. Right here. So here he takes it into the air for just a short moment. And obviously you guys know I love jumping on my slalom gear, so I'm gonna give him a little tip for the jump here. So what we can see is, if we go a little bit further forward, already here he's probably looking for a chop where to take off from. As he finds one and chooses one, we can see that he's lifting his front leg and pushing with his back leg, which is correct. But as he does that, right after he takes off, he wants to go compact, and that's something that's not happening. So here at the beginning of the jump, we can see he pulls the front leg, and in the next step, the back leg has to come really close as well. That's the way you get the board and the fin out of the water, which unfortunately is not really happening, and therefore he's not getting really a lot of air here. But it's all in all still a pretty good attempt, because he doesn't lose any speed. And in his second video, we can actually see that he's going for another jump over a little bit bigger of a ramp. This time he's on his way out. We can see the wave here. That's the one he wants to take off from. And he's doing so nicely. So this is a lot of a better jump. When you have a kicker, when you have a bit of a wave, you don't need as much of a technique to jump. So you don't, you lift out of the water anyways, and you don't need this technique of making yourself compact. But it's still advised, because actually to get compact, it helps you to get control for the jump. So here Kurt is lifting off. Looks like holding on for his dear life. And in this position, what you want to do is you want to get the back leg close to you. So as we can see, the front leg is already angled, but the back foot wants to go under your butt. And that's where you get a more comfortable flight position for a jump like this. But all in all, once again, he doesn't lose any speed, still a decent jump. But that's what you want to improve. It would be really nice to say more about your stance, but from this angle, we cannot really see that much about the angles of your legs. And that's what I want to say earlier. And if you mount your camera a bit lower, for example, as we have this video here from Lars, who is obviously my cameraman and editor. He got us this footage from Lake Garda, and he mounted the camera right under the boom, under the tail of the boom. So here it's not in the way, and you can see really nicely what the stance looks like and what your legs and feet are doing. The perspective from before helped much more with the hands. Unfortunately, we didn't have a jibe from Kurt. He didn't send through a jibe. There we would be able to see really nicely the position of the hands. Here we have Lars going in Lake Garda, actually with a really nice speed. And we can see that he's pretty much in a foiling position, and that's very different to a fin position. So what we have here is we have the hip pulling the harness lines down, because the foil generates a lot of lift and pushes up, and that way the mast base and the sail gets pushed up, and you need to counter leverage that, and that's what you do with this position. So you have the harness lines here, and you're pulling the harness lines down, and you do that on foiling much more so than on fin to get the control and to get the speed. So the wing wants to push up, you push down, and that's how you generate the speed, and that's how you get faster. And we can really see how the hook of the harness is pulling up, and he's countering that with this what we call the toilet position, which is basically pushing the butt low. And that's also why we need such long harness lines, to keep the point of leverage really low. So he's doing that really well. Then here we can see that Lars is going into the jibe. Fully foiling, which is also not that easy on a race foil, because the race foil needs a certain speed to keep foiling. The first thing we can see is that Lars hooks out of the harness line and steps out with the back foot at the same time. And that's normally going to cost you some speed, and obviously when we're racing, we don't want that. So what helps, or what would help Lars, is to first hook out and make sure the moment you hook out, you close the sail a little bit. That way you get this last bit of speed just before you take the foot out of the foot strap. Next, what we want to focus on is the hand positioning. And we can see here that Lars, for example, that he's on an 8/7. We see that here in the bottom of the sail. So that means it's a really big sail. It catches a lot of wind. And on the foil, when you go into the jibe, sometimes you overtake the wind. And that's the moment you get so-called backwinded. And that's exactly what's happening here in this moment. You can see that the sail is rotating already while he hasn't even shifted yet. And that's something you can prevent in foiling by pushing the sail forward rather than closing it. So right here you can kind of see how he closes the leech close to his leg, which is something we do on the fin, obviously. But what he wants to do is actually, before he or while he initiates the jibe, to push the sail forward and extend his arms, because the moment he gets wind from the other side, he actually has some room to kind of buffer that push he gets from the sail, which now he doesn't have. You can see the arms are already quite close to the body. And when the wind comes in, there's nothing he can do. He's obviously pushing full power against the sail, because otherwise it would throw him backwards. And the sail rotates already, and that's something we want to avoid. But otherwise, nice and smooth jibes. He goes straight into the foot strap. Still some problems finding the foot strap here, ditching the toe. But obviously that's the way to go on the foil. And we will also see later on a jibe where someone is not putting the foot straight away in. But Lars is at least attempting that, not finding it straight away, but that's a matter of getting to know your board and your gear to know exactly where to put the foot. And then we have Salvador, who is also on a foil. And he's going into the jibe, and as you can see here, obviously he's not on race gear, he's on a wave sail. And as you can see here, he's not going straight into the strap after he shifts the feet. And that's a key difference to the video from Lars, for example. And also guys, please let me know what is your goal in windsurfing when you send the footage, because that's a very, very important point to determine or to give you good advice, because I need to know what your goal is. Do you want to become a racer? Do you want to become faster? Do you want to just have fun and be comfortable on the water? Because for example, Salvador, of course, you're doing a great jibe. You're fully foiling, you look comfortable, but you're not putting the foot straight into the front strap, which helps you to make a faster jibe, which helps you to get a little bit more stability after you get around the jibe. But if you're comfortable like that, it's also fine. You can jibe like that, of course. But the more common technique is to go straight into the front strap while you switch the stance of the feet. So looking at the jibe here, he switches the feet and puts the new front foot next to the foot strap and not into it. Again, if you're happy with it, if you're comfortable with it, keep doing it. If you want to do a better jibe, a more stable jibe, put your foot straight into the front strap. That will help a lot to continue the radius, because you have a wider stance. You can change the angle of the board better, especially when it comes to racing. You want to be very adaptive with your radius. You have more control and it's a faster jibe. Salvador is actually using harness mount. That's super good for reviewing technique. So here we can really see everything we want to see. So kudos for that. And while going straight, he looks comfortable. He is not comfortable enough yet to put the back foot into the strap, or in fact he has a semi-strap, a half strap. But of course you would want to put the foot kind of inside the strap. This can be a matter of how the foil works together with the board, how much power the foil has. Perhaps the foil is set for too much power, so he has to stand kind of in front of the back strap to have a comfortable stance and to leverage against the power of the foil. So it could be that you need a little bit less power in the foil. It will make the jibe more tricky again, but it will make the foil faster. If you change the back wing angle of your foil, if you give it less angle and make it more flat, then you will be able to put your foot further back because you need more pressure in the back, and the foil will end up going faster. We are going to stick to the foil, and this is a friend of Lars. Lars, we see him smiling here, filming his friend Tim. And we know from Tim, what a beautiful setting here in Lake Garda with the sun setting behind the mountain. We know from Tim that he definitely wants to foil faster. And I have one key advice from looking at the footage of Tim here. On the foil, in order to go faster, you want to have as least friction as possible. Especially in a place like Lake Garda, where you don't have a big amplitude. So the wave, the difference between the bottom of the wave and the peak of the wave or the chop is not that big. You want to fly the foil as high as possible. Of course, when you go in wavy conditions, if you have swell, you need basically the whole range of the foil to kind of compensate for the chop and to stay in control. But in a spot like Lake Garda, once you have the control and the stability in your flight, which I can see Tim has, you definitely want to start flying the foil higher. How you do that? You create more lift by making yourself a bit taller and by putting more pressure on the back foot. What you can do is you push a bit harder on the back foot and you move the upper body a little bit more forward, more towards yeah, the front of the board. That way you create a little bit more leverage, it will make the foil rise a bit, and you try to control it in that position by once again applying pressure on the mast base through the toilet position, which Tim is definitely practicing here. Once he goes faster, you can even go with longer harness lines, you can even sit a bit lower, you keep your upper body close to the boom, and you keep your butt really low. Then we have Bruno, an up-and-coming racer. We have this footage from him here at the Defi Wind. So super nice spot to go fast, to practice jibes. And here we see him blasting around, coming towards the inside and preparing for a jibe. So we're gonna look at his jibes. Good job with the Surf Center sticker here, of course. And he's speeding up. He's changing his hand position. He's going into the jibe, making it, just planing, I think, and off he goes. Okay, first of all, we have to say great jibe. It's a good jibe, fully planing. It's a perfect spot for jibing also, because over there in France you have super flat water. Nice perspective here with the helmet. But there's one or two things we can see here, especially if we look right now just at the hands. So I think, Bruno, you can put the backhand even further back, all the way close to your cleat here. So there's a few centimeters that you can get extra. That way you will have some more leverage to pull the sail, to sheet the sail in. But you're doing that really well. It's yeah, almost like a race or a laydown jibe. And then, as you shift the sail, we can see that your front hand is not sliding close to the mast, and that's what you want, because this is the most awkward position you can have while shifting the sail, and it will not allow you to get around the sail quick enough and in enough control. Like, this is a really awkward position. Once you have waves, this becomes very tricky. So what you want to do instead is you want to slide the front hand really close to the mast, and that way you can shift the sail much easier. You lose less time getting around, and you will yeah, have an easier time making a planing jibe. The second one is looking at the feet. Hooks out, sheets in. We don't quite see the foot here, but we do see it at one moment. Here we see the foot. And I do think you can put your foot even further on the rail of the other side. It's a bit hard to see from here, but it looks very centered over the board. And we really want to put the foot on the rail of the other side. That allows us to carve much more controlled and harder, because we have a wider stance. We have more leverage on the rail. But overall, once again, really nice jibe. And if you fix your hand movement, you will be just fine. Then we have a video from Jesper from northern Germany, Flensburg. And if you can, guys, be sure to send us widescreen videos. Don't do it upright, that's a bit awkward for here on YouTube to do the review. Obviously it's actually a nice view because you see the whole sail, and if you can, do send us the Insta360 files. But we're gonna take a look at it anyways. He's obviously a full-on racer. He's on a pretty small board, 61 I think it is. So we're gonna look at his jibe now. Okay, first thing, and that's something you have to remind yourselves all the time, guys, and I remind the people at the clinic also all the time, just move the hand a little bit back. Just before you initiate the jibe, move the hand, start with just a few centimeters, but it has to get in your hand that you move it a little bit back. Otherwise you get in a really awkward position where you can't close the sail enough, or you don't have the power on the sail to close it. And you want to do that, you want to close the sail. It allows you to give constant and controlled railing to the board. You close the sail and it puts pressure on the rail of the board in a controlled way. And that's something we're missing here. So we can see straight away the sail is quite open. That way you lose speed, and you can see that he's actually later on moving the hand further back. So he is sliding the hand back. It's just too late at this moment. So do it before. He instinctively does it. So there has to be something to it, because he does it in order to kind of make the jibe. Afterward, looks pretty good. You see the hand movement, front hand slides to the mast, which allows a good shifting. And from here, you can see the front leg is next to the mast base, fully pushed through, maybe even more. You can push the front leg even more, exaggerate the movements. Back leg is angled, front leg is stretched, and that's your position to start to get planing again and get back up to speed. By the way, guys, if you ever wanted to see how to uphole and sail without the uphole rope, this is it. You start all the way on the bottom of the mast and work yourself up until you're up at the boom. Very important, the positioning of the sail, so the wind pushes under and helps you to uphold it. So the positioning is very important in this one, but this is just a little side note. You can see me here with the camera mounted a little bit away from the boom, and you can see that I'm sailing in Lake Garda. I'm sailing on an 8.2 square meter sail and on an 85 wide slalom board, fin slalom board. All right, guys, we start from here. I'm obviously enjoying myself. You can see my back straps are all the way mounted to the back, and the front straps as well. So yeah, just like our first contestant, I'm making sure the board is flying and getting free, just like Kurt. Blasting along, spotting where I want to jibe. That's also very important. I always look for the perfect place to jibe. So I look how the waves are moving, and I look for a space where I have a lot of distance between the chop, or I don't have so much chop. I make sure I have a gust. You always want to put yourself in the right position. We're going to look at the hands, and you have seen I did the hand movement. So looking from here to here, there was tiny little hand movement to get it a little bit further back, hooked out of the sail. And you can see when I place the foot on the other side of the board, I'm still closed with the sail, right? So I don't open the sail when I change my position, because I want to keep my speed and I want to keep the sail closed. Here I'm going into the jibe. You can see I'm railing the board. The back foot is on the other side of the board using the rail. I'm even pulling with the front leg. That's something that helps, especially with wide boards. So driving on wide boards, you don't only want to press with your back foot, but you also want to pull the front foot a little bit in order to rail the board nicely. I'm opening the sail as I'm on downwind. I'm sliding the hand as close as I can get it to the mast. I can't get it all the way to the mast because I have the Insta360 mount here. And I have another challenge. I need to duck under the stick where I have the Insta360 mounted on. But you can see the hands, the grip is as close as possible together. Getting on the new side and straight into planing position. And off I go back into the foot straps. And that was my jibe compared to what you have seen before. I hope it helped you guys. We want more of your footage. We want more videos to analyze, and we want that you learn from other people's mistake. We want that you can get your own footage reviewed. And we want, of course, to thank Insta360 for supporting this video series. If you have an Insta360, be sure to send us your footage. If not, you still have the chance to get yourself one. We have an affiliate code, so please be sure to use that if you want to get yourself one. We also have plenty of videos already explaining where and how to mount the camera best. We will link them down below so you can set up your camera perfectly. It's a really, really good tool, of course, to have fun, to record your sessions with your friends, as Lars did with Tim, and to improve. And that's what we're trying to do here. And with that said, I hope to see you guys in the next video, and see you soon.